For the love of God.
Dude, I'm in grading papers like all day and weeding. This is like the most relaxed I've been all day.
And by weeding, you mean smoking weed?
I wish. I wish.
Crap.
Last time I got high was 3 weeks ago in Pittsburgh at a friend's apartment. And then I got a BLT and I was laughing because I was incapable of eating that sandwich properly. I'm all like, I was like, how do I sandwich? Fuck!
It's weird how you've
confused.
confused. It's weird how you've confused 3 weeks ago with 3 minutes.
Welcome to The Pull Bag. Join us as we dig out our latest comics and discuss them with a rotating panel of the GCRN crew. So sit back and enjoy this week's Pull Bag.
Hello and welcome to the 43rd episode of The Pull Bag. I'm your host, TFG and Mike. Joining me is Ryan the Uneven Flow. Hello.
Yo.
And from Punisher Body Count, Jake and Dane. Hello, guys. How are you?
Hey there.
What up, G?
I'm assuming, the keyword here is assuming that we all saw Punisher 04 in theaters when it first came out.
There was
I've been meaning to get around to it.
Funny. Okay, so we all saw it in theaters, we all saw it in media and everything else. This is the first time I had known that they had done a comic adaptation, and generally, I gotta say, I'm not a fan of adaptations for comics from film to comic. Like, I don't mind if the films take elements of comics, but if it's like, it's kind of like those, they probably still do them today, I don't read them as much anymore, but they used to do, when I was younger, they used to do movie novelizations, and I know, Ryan's going to be like, oh god, why are you referencing that? But the one I mainly remember having is the Judge Dredd novelization, the Stallone version, and the Stallone film.
Oh, yeah.
And in the novelization, it's so much, the novelization, Peter David added so much exposition and so much additional story than what's in the actual film.
Peter David's really good with that.
Yeah. He also did the 1990 Turtles books as well.
He did Iron Man, too.
I'll just throw this out here as a side note. Best novelization ever was Greg Rucka's novel version of No Man's Land, which was so much more concise and to the point to the comics. Anyone who's a fan of like Batman should seriously consider picking that up and reading it. It is just such an improvement over a series that was okay but not great, but it's really important to Batman as a character. There we go.
You know, Ryan, No Man's Land, no joke, was the first like series, like mega event, I guess you call it, in comics that I followed when I first got into comics. So I love Greg Rucka. I didn't even know I did know there was a novelization like years ago. I should have fucking picked that up.
Yeah,
but I think I'll look it up.
I don't mean to insult the series when I say this, but I mean there's so much of the stuff that's cut out that didn't need to be in there in the novel. Yeah. And it actually like improved a lot and adds a lot to Harley's backstory and a lot of other things.
Cool.
Yeah. So we've got a couple of questions because we just do. From a couple of the Punisher Body Count group members, K. Stone asks, simple, since the 2004 was heavily based on Welcome Back Frank, how does the movie adaptation measure up to the original? It doesn't at all.
Oh, man.
The movie adaptation doesn't even, and we'll get into this when we get to the review segment of this episode, the movie adaptation doesn't even live up to the friggin' movie itself.
It also shouldn't even be mentioned in the same sentence as Welcome Back Frank.
I know.
Actually, the only way that the 04 adaptation even references Welcome Back Frank is his three crazy roommates and the Russian. That's it.
Yeah, and we talked about this beforehand, too, that usually movie adaptations, one of the problems with them is they're based off of early versions of the script. What the hell was the Punisher movie adaptation based off of? Did somebody write like 10 words down on a napkin and they threw it in?
I think someone read Welcome Back Frank when they're drunk, and they're like, fuck, I'm turning this into a movie. Let's do this.
Added
but then
some
he
stuff
sobered
from
up
year
and he
one.
forgot what he read.
Dane,
Yeah.
eat that BLT right, dude.
Wow, they'll get that joke.
Yeah.
That,
Well,
No,
that's
no,
yeah,
they
to be
won't.
fair, maybe he wrote it after he did the. Never mind.
The other question, and forgive me if I screw this name up, is from John Pierre
Oh.
Chasm. Uh, are you able to see Frank Castle getting into a romantic relationship? From what I've seen in animation and in the live action films, and what I'm reading so far in Punisher Month here in the pull bag, no, not at
It
all.
depends on the version. There have been plenty of them. There's some that are
In the
nicer than
main
others.
Marvel universe, in like Welcome Back
616.
Frank version, I don't see
If you're
it. I,
talking, yeah, Welcome Back Frank version, probably not. He's kind of a sociopath. And then, like, the Max version is just outright freaking psychopath version.
yeah.
So he sort of has a romance, but it's not really a romance in that.
Yeah. Or
But
like FWB situation there.
yeah, or just sort of out of convenience, that kind of
Well,
thing. And
see,
that's
Yeah.
about
it's
it.
always weird. He'll frequent prostitutes. Like
Yeah.
he's
Yeah,
still
but
a man, and he still gets the
frequenting a
blue balls.
prostitute is, just like going to the Dollar General store.
Well, yeah,
But
exactly. But what I'm saying is, he gets blue balls just like everyone else. But I don't think he's really into relationships. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the only one he ever dates is what's her name, Lynn Michaels.
Yeah, that's something we'll probably have to handle in
I
another
thought you were going to
episode.
say Electra, which is always depicted as on and off, too.
oh
Yeah, no,
god,
that got started
No,
by
that's
was yeah, that was like a one-off in Marvel Knights Punisher, and that was like played
It
up as a
was, but it's
joke.
been brought up a few different times, too.
Lynn Thunderbolts.
And of course, there was the infamous Valentine's Day Painkiller Jane crossover.
Yeah, I saw that. That was man.
But we discussed that on the
Oh
show.
yeah, yeah. That guy was like no, that was like watching an anime where the lead guy has six chicks after his dick and he doesn't care, and all those six chicks are put into Painkiller Jane's persona. Like that's how bad she wanted his dick in that comic. It was kind of funny. I think Palmiotti did that comic.
Yep.
But it's not very memorable to me beyond
Nope.
that.
Although somehow I remembered it, so
Yeah.
you remember everything, Ryan. So
it's unfortunately mildly accurate.
Yeah.
yes,
But as for
Uh,
love, no, that's kind of anathema to the Punisher, whose whole deal is uh
Don't you mean
basically being as
anathema?
yeah, I fucked that up. Sorry, anathema.
He doesn't
I
even
always-
love his guns.
Not really. I mean, he's just a guy that by default his character is have as little human contact as possible. So, and I think having a relationship, even being pen pals with someone, would be a problem.
so we're gonna do this episode in two segments after the intro here.
Okay.
We're gonna do the 2004 film review, and then we're gonna take a break, and then we're gonna go back to 1974 and talk about Amazing Spider-Man number 129. We'll be back after this.
The last straw just broke. I'm a lion in your tasteless joke. What's up with that heart you've stolen? Don't worry, cause it's not broken, it's just swollen. Cleanses and pain. How you feeling from day to day? Well, I've got you now, that's your need.
So we are back, and the only thing, to my knowledge, that this adaptation has anything to do with the actual film is the front cover of the trade.
Yeah, there was
No,
some
that's not true. The basic plot does follow the basic plot of the movie.
Basically,
This is like putting the movie into a 70-minute animated film and basically just shortening it all together.
Oh yeah, well, it's shortening it to the point where even the panels don't make sense. Like you'll go from one panel on one page to the next panel on the very next page, and you're like, "Fuck! Did they cut like 5 panels off of this page?" Did
Yeah.
anyone get that feeling?
No, absolutely. Things got terribly abridged. Like they said, like, listen, here's all the cool scenes, and you need to have these in here. But the problem is they often have very little context or very little build up, and so it's like, whoa, like literally the the big fight at the end, it feels like it's down to 2 to 3 pages at the end, and
You're
that's
talking about
It is.
the Russian?
it's 2 pages. Holy no, yeah, it's about 2.5 actually. Like
It,
fuck,
yeah.
not the Russian. Russian was weird too.
Oh, you
Uh,
mean the Russian, which
He's
is
talking about the club, yeah.
yeah,
well the Russian fight, which is one of the main scenes from the movie, I think is all on one page.
oh,
It's no, it's on.
It's a little more.
Dane's right. It's about 2.5.
The fight with the Russian?
no, I'm
yeah.
talking about the final confrontation. Russian, I'm not sure. That was like 2 or 3 pages. Like that was the limit for any kind of real scene. 2 to 3 pages, and then move the fuck on.
It just
Right.
feels like they had just
Oh,
a
I know.
completely incomplete version of the. Well, that was a confusing sentence. Anyway, it just feels like they had an incomplete version of the script to go off of. And yeah, they had a description of a couple scenes, and then that's about it, with no real way to tie it together. And it's everything is just so massively abridged too.
Yeah, and I really don't want to blame Peter Milligan, the writer here. I felt like I really feel like, and I didn't do too much research into this guy's opinion of the work, or even if he has one, but I feel like this was a guy caught between a rock and a hard place. Like he took the project and he's looking at this screenplay done by 3 different guys, one of them who is not contractually credited to it, and it's like, fuck, this thing's kind of a mess. I mean, the one thing that was interesting about this book is you actually see like certain scenes in the Punisher movie that simply were not filmed. Like they did plan on doing a part where Frank Castle's in Iraq and you get to see like what he was doing there. They decided that's not in the budget. We're not going to do that.
Well, see, they actually did do that, but it's not in the theatrical version. It's in the extended cut DVD. They did it animatically, though.
That's what I
They
mean.
didn't
They
actually
did.
film it, but they did an animatic of it, and see, that's the, like, I honestly, I have to go back and watch the movie after we record this because I don't remember I remember the extended cut. I remember starting with the animatic. I don't remember how does the theatrical cut start at the docks?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Let me ask you, because it's been a while since I saw the extended cut. Did he have that black friend Jimmy in that?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
And
remember that, yeah.
Yeah, because what the difference between the theatrical cut and the extended cut is they never explain or they never go into detail about Jimmy. They just offhand put it as, oh, Jimmy is the one that turned him in. The extended cut actually shows you the animatic of Jimmy saving his life, and then later that comes back into play when he makes Jimmy kill himself.
Yeah, okay. All right. They cut a lot of that in the theatrical, and that's the one I've seen the most.
Yeah. I like the art, but once we actually get past the Otto Krieg stuff and we actually get Frank, he looked like. I know I complained about this a while ago, but looking at IDW's Star Trek number 21, which was After Darkness, the epilogue to the Into Darkness.
This is going
film.
to be a weird tangent.
No, it's not. It's not
Okay.
even going to be a tangent. It's basically from film to adaptation. They didn't. The way they drew the Star Trek characters from Into Darkness in the book, it doesn't look real. It doesn't look like Chris Pine should look. It doesn't look like Zachary Quinto should look. It's over stylized, and it's the same thing here with Frank. He doesn't resemble Jane at all.
No, not at all.
No,
the only
and I
character
thought, yeah.
that looks somewhat like their actual actor is Howard Saint.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
thought,
Yeah.
they chubbed up that guy's face just like John Travolta. I thought that was a nice touch. They tried, but I
It's
didn't
'cause
recognize
that's-
any of these characters. In fact,
That's
they
where
always
all the money. That's where all the money for the film went. So they wanted to get it right in the comic. And
Yeah.
exactly. It was just half that money was just Travolta's catering bill. Oh,
oh, don't forget sneaking the Cabana Boys in and oh, sorry. No, anyway.
no, I mean they do. I mean, it's like one of those not even a fucking secret anymore things. But I guess we won't talk about it in Hollywood. Like, God, Travolta, just go to the Philippines and just fucking have a nice time. Holy shit.
Oh, sorry. But in terms of the adaptation, I don't have a lot to say about it because I don't have a lot of good stuff to say about it. It's just you're better
It's
off to
just
watch
too
the
fast.
movie. This doesn't
Yeah.
add anything to the experience. Like usually you read a book or see like a comic adaptation of the film, and there's something there that kind of adds to the experience. Even if the adaptation's very poor, there's usually at least a little bit, or you get inside the character's head a little more, or something like that. This just has nothing to recommend it. I don't have a lot.
While I agree with that, let's change our frame of mind for just 1 second here.
Uh-oh.
Let's view this from the lens of let's say they're getting ready to do Punisher now, and let's think about this as like the first issue of a rebooted Punisher. I think from that standpoint, through that lens, this is okay.
It's barely okay.
It's barely okay. I 100%
barely
agree.
okay.
It utterly fails as a movie adaptation, but I would say viewed from a different lens, it's okay. The art is serviceable. It does have its problems. I'm not going to say that, but I've certainly seen a lot worse. Howard Chaykin. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Well,
And
but the whole thing, like specifically, like when we get to the scene about the family reunion
right.
in the movie, the boat scenes and the family reunion scenes were, and I know in a comic book you probably can't do this that well, and they don't actually do it very well, but there were multiple cuts in the film where it shows you the boat, and it's just the boat driving with like barely any music. It's just the sound effects of being on the water, and then they show the reunion and different people doing different things, and they show the boat. It's got more tension. It has no tension here. It's just like broom of boat coming dock. Yay! Let's go kill his entire family just because the wife wants us to.
Yeah, it's just like, hey, go kill the whole family. Okay. And that's the whole thing. Time to send an assassin at him because he took he threw my money out my building. Okay. And oh man, I can't believe he killed the Russian. This is I don't know how it's possible. Like these made up fucking characters in a comic sounded like they were phoning it in. Like they were in some shit movie. How's that possible? They're not real, and yet they somehow gain sentience and know they're in a shit comic.
I gotta say, can you guys for an episode Dane? Can you just read the comic aloud? That was extremely enjoyable.
I guess. I don't want to like riff track this fucking thing.
I think I would pay to listen to you just read out the comic like that.
It's just like. Via Condeo's castle, go with God. God's gonna sit this one out. Okay. Next scene, we good? We good? Yeah, God's gonna sit this one out. There, fucking do it in post.
Like Bobby's saying, did Bobby? I don't. Again, I'm sorry to say, and listeners are probably like, "Oh, they didn't do their research. Oh, they didn't watch the movie before they read the adaptation again."
I saw the movie about a week ago, so I'm good with any questions.
Bobby ever
I'm the co-host of a Punisher podcast, so I'm good.
I've never watched a movie.
Did Bobby actually ever say anything to Frank on the docks in the film?
No.
Yeah, I think he did. Yeah, he said.
Do you mean like the original scene, or okay, yeah? I'm sorry, I'm thinking of later on during the sort of montage where the Punisher's blowing shit up. Finally.
Oh no. Well, they do have an exchange there, but
no, I meant the earlier one where it's
no,
courtesy of the Saints.
They're fucking twins, not Bobby. I mean John, the brother that didn't kill yet. Yeah, see, I could have, because this whole scene, Frank Castle, my mother and father send their regards. Really? Seriously?
I don't remember them saying anything in the movie. But
Dane, could I get your read on that, please?
What do you mean? Because they did the whole...
No, I just want to hear you read that line again in the way you were doing it before. That was the most entertaining thing of this so far.
Oh, let me just see here.
I want you to do voice
from the book. Okay, because here we go. It's right in the beginning here. So let me just scroll through. This time they're not blanks. Because they bang. And then so that's the end of that. And throwing the lighter. Kaboom. Oh no.
And seriously, why does the writer of this book insist? Because going from the kaboom. Where's the kaboom? There was supposed to be a giant kaboom. Insert Marvin the Martian clip here.
Hey, can we bring up the real weirdness of the dialogue? And by that I mean I'll just start with the most obvious thing. From my count, and I might be wrong because, man, I sure didn't go over this with a fine-tooth comb. This ain't the comic for it. But there was zero swearing in these 3 issues.
Yeah.
Zero. This was based on a fucking rated R movie. Now, I'm not saying you need to swear 24/7, but in a rated R crime vigilante movie, yeah, there's swearing, dude.
To be fair, like famously, the movie itself was only rated R when they inserted like the one topless scene, because originally it had also achieved a PG, and then Marvel said, desperately said like, oh, we need this rated R, quick, insert some boobs.
Yeah, a similar thing happened with Expendables. Like they just digitally put in more blood or something. And I get that. They make those decisions at the last minute. And you can actually watch the 2004 Punch movie and go, yeah, you could tell they were definitely settling for PG-13 in a lot of stuff, but they still did a good job with it. And then they probably went, oh, by the way, it's rated R. Fuck, really? Now? After all the shit we did?
I honestly can't remember this, too. Does the comic adaptation, though, does it have the comics code? Because if so, there's a reason why they couldn't have any of the swearing.
No, even, like, bleeped out. Nothing like that. Not even a crap.
Oops.
Because even in Comics Code Authority, you could still say crap and I don't give a damn. Oh, my God. Like, it's that's another thing that makes it so soulless, is that it's just, I'm going to kill you. I will get revenge. I think that like the naughtiest this thing ever gets is that they almost go verbatim with the Howard Saint taking his wife down to the ghetto, and it's just like, yeah, this place used to have. I met you 3 blocks from here. This place used to have color, and now there's only horrors. You'll fit right in. And here's one other thing I'll fucking say. One thing that this comic goes diverges, and it diverges in a couple like arbitrary ways that I don't really care for, but Howard Saint drops his fucking wife off in this fucking Miami ghetto and leaves her to basically be a rape slave to Latino gang members in the fucking
That's
movie.
not what happened in the movie. In the movie, she got a train up her ass.
Yeah, he just didn't.
Well, to be fair, she sort of does in this then too.
Oh my God. See, I'm not saying my line about what it's in being implied, but yeah, let's laugh. Let's laugh at this woman's misfortune. Fuck.
Well, the other thing I don't like about the adaptation is it's not faithful to the film at all, because the Toros never did anything with his wife.
No.
And then Mike is like, hey, baby, come over here.
And the Toros are just these kind of minor characters like, you fucking up, Saint. Where's my money?
Yeah, that's really all they are.
Yeah, and this is just like, I could actually see why. I think what happened is that this guy got dealt, like Peter Milligan was given some early in development drafts. This is the basic thing, just do it. And then like other people read the script and go like, wait, did Howard Saint literally just like sell his wife off into slavery? I think we could do something a little bit more Shakespearean than that and just have him kill her. But they kept that in the comic, and so this is just like some shitty like surviving part of the movie.
And when I kind of get it and I kind of don't get it, why the hell was this released March 31st, 2004, when the film wasn't even out until April 16th?
That's what I'm saying.
We have to build up the buzz.
Yeah, the buzz, but it's...
Well, it doesn't prove. I mean...
Worst buzz ever.
Yeah.
Unlike Dane's.
No, I told you about something I did 3 weeks ago. Guess what? Okay, I know you guys probably a little being uneducated. Being high doesn't last that long. It's been 3 fucking weeks. Fun fact.
And the other thing, I gotta go back and look at the front page because I didn't even have Ryan run down the staff on this, but inks. Okay. Yeah, whoever the penciler and the inker are, they don't know how to draw piercings for crap. Because Hacker Dave looks like he's got pimples all over his fucking face.
Yeah, I noticed that too when I was reading this.
Even on the page where Jones says, "I'm late for work, night guys," which is also from the film. But if you look at his face on that page, he looks like he's got fucking acne.
Yeah,
half the time he looks like some asshole shoved his face in the sidewalk and just didn't let up. And that shit is still stuck in his face. That's how bad it is. And here's another thing. Here's another weird fucking compromise. Like, you can tell they had some of the actors down. Like, okay, Howard Saint, he's gonna be fucking Travolta, and then, well, who's Frank Castle? Fucking just draw Frank Castle. But then you look at the roommates, and it's fucking weird because they have the woman as the waitress from the movie, then Natty Bumpo is fucking Natty Bumpo from the comics with the mustache and just looks like a shittier version of him. And then Dave is just some guy with piercings. He's
Or
neither.
acne. Yeah. And the other thing I don't like is that when Frank captures Mickey, in the comic they show the blowtorch, but then they cut to the Toros. They don't even show the joke line of, oh, hey, I'm actually torching a steak while touching you with a popsicle stick.
Yeah.
Like, that was the funniest part of that, because we don't know until obviously Frank showed, obviously Mickey doesn't know the entire time, but the audience didn't know until he actually showed it. But it's like, oh shit, he's going to basically burn this guy unless he talks. And it just cuts all of that out. And his whole plan.
Speaking of the, can I go back to the roommates real quick?
Sorry, Mike, it's just 2 panels long for this comic to show that punchline.
God.
But go ahead, man.
But yeah, speaking of what the roommates look like, Spacker Dave looks like David Spade. Joan looks like Renee Zellweger. And Mr. Bumpo, no offense to Dane, but it kind of looks like Dane's dad again. Dane's dad gets like copied in comics all the time.
Yeah, there was actually a Steve Dillon Mafia Don. And Jake brought that up one time. Like, dude, that's your dad. And I looked at him and there was like this 5 seconds of silence. Like, holy fuck, that is my dad. But how dare you, dude? No, this guy looks like if John Goodman had a mustache and just a really bad.
Or maybe like John Candy. No, that's who he looks like, John Candy.
Yeah, John Candy.
We need to end this. I'm dying over here.
You'll be all right. You'll be all right. We're almost done.
I keep having to shut my mic off because I'm laughing hysterically.
That's the point. That's why we love tearing into shit and tearing it apart. The whole plan, okay, in the movie, it's so much better. Here, it's just a confusing mess of panels. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to go back and do this.
That's what I was saying from the beginning. Like, it's basically the same thing because you have this fucking Machiavellian traffic ticket bullcrap, but, like, you get it in 2 pages instead of, an hour in the movie?
That may actually be an improvement.
Well, be that as it may, that's kind of what happens in the comic.
No, I know. Yeah, it's just everything just reeks of being sort of rushed, and it's the same pitfall that does befall a lot of like movie video game adaptations. Actually, that's sort of the funny thing here. If you want to compare it to the Xbox/PS2 PC title, The Punisher, the game that THQ made around the same time, that in a lot of ways it follows the movie a lot more faithfully than this. I mean, it's meant as sort of a follow-up to the film, but in many ways it follows it a lot more faithfully than this adaptation does. And
well, I think the point that THQ was making with that was that they just were allowed to do their own thing and kind of like as a sequel to the movie. And I always feel those are the best kinds of, what do you call it? Whatever, video game adaptations or whatever. Like, you're not tied down to what the movie is, because a lot of those developers don't know what the fucking movie is. Maybe they get some weird outline script and a couple
here's
notes.
The problem with video game movies, okay? Like, where you're doing, like, kind of like you said, the
license
video game adaptation or whatever.
Yeah, license.
If you do it pretty much scene by scene from the movie, it's kind of cool to play as the character, but then you just kind of grow bored with it. Yeah. But if they try to do something cool and innovative, sort of like what they did with Enter the Matrix, then people are just pissed because they can't play Neo. So you're really between like a rock and a hard place.
And that to some extent maybe explains this. I mean, maybe they were trying to do something a little different if they did have a final version of the script, but either way, it just sort of, everything just kind of combined to form a crap sandwich.
Oh, definitely.
You know what?
And now that I'm looking at this again and not actually reading the dialogue, but the whole panel with the scene basically where Joan says, "Don't let your memories kill you." The whole panel in the book where he's walking away and she's following him, and they're at his door, and why am I? If he didn't have a skull on his black T-shirt, why am I envisioning Jerry Maguire?
Because that's Renee Zellweger.
Those two characters. Because when she says, "Don't let your memories kill you," it reminds me of Renee Zellweger.
Exactly.
I'm going with you, Jerry.
Exactly.
Oh my god, this is so bad.
I love how she said it in the comic too.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just so. And the end scene. Oh no, not the end scene. The is it the bank scene? Where the hell are? Oh no, we're to the point where Bumpo and all them get messed up. No, then we get the scene that's from the extended cut.
Wait, can we go back to where you're talking about where they interrogate Spacker Dave?
Yeah.
So if you go back, this is how rushed this is, right? Like the previous page or something like that. That's when Frank pushes the Russian off the roof, right?
Yeah.
And then you get a page with Mickey Duca, but who the fuck cares? All right. And then you've got the soldiers right outside the apartment.
Yeah.
And then then all of a sudden they interrogate Spacker Dave. And it's like, when did they do that on panel? Like,
Yeah.
And where the fuck is Frank? Like, there's
Yeah,
no
exactly.
need for
Like, where
him
did he have time
to
to
hide
get
from
to?
that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just one clusterfuck after another, trying to keep all this stuff together, and man, then they even tried the no, they don't even have that great speech where it was like to have peace, prepare for war. They
No,
don't
they
even have that.
No, they do.
They have it at the end.
Oh yeah, I see it now. They snuck it in. Oh man, but they do it during the dumbest times. And well, of course they have to fit in the whole, hey, my consigliere is gay, but he also slept with my wife thing. Like that worked out. Like whether you like that part or not, and the fucking fire hydrants. That's the one good thing this comic does. It kind of just whole glides over the whole fucking with fire hydrants.
That's what I said. It
That's
might have
the
actually
one
been a
good thing.
bonus.
Yeah.
All right, we've wasted way too much time on this.
We're pretty much on the last panel here. I didn't know guns sounded like Buddhas.
Well, no, that's a famous thing. Like, bada, 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 bada. Like, they even reference it in Welcome Back, Frank. But the one thing I'll just say about this is that this comic was horrible, but it was fascinating because to me, it shows it's like when you copy a copy that was already the copy of a document, and then the copy you get is like some real shitty, grainy version of it. Like that's
Insomnia
what you get.
is like a copy of a copy of a copy of a copy.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But that's
Try to work a Fight Club reference in there.
yeah. Good job, dude.
Sorry.
But like that's what you get with this comic because it's from a movie. This is based on a movie that's based on 3 different major comic books and 3 different guys, and you just run through all these ideas, and then you have to translate it into a movie, and that had its own problems, and then you have to translate that movie into a comic book before everyone's even on board, and just seeing what happens with that, it's a mess. And I actually wrote, I know that people are going to be like, oh really? But I'm going to say I cannot believe Marvel actually allowed this to come out, even as some kind of shitty cash into a movie adaptation where it doesn't even count.
Oh, it doesn't surprise me Marvel put this out. Fucking,
Still-
they'll if they thought it would sell, they would put they'll put like a Bradstreet cover on 24 blank pages and put it out $3.99.
It's still better than the Onslaught saga.
You see, this is what I'm saying. Well, Onslaught, I can't even remember that. But Marvel at least has something like, no, we need to at least this to have like in-house production style. It needs to meet some kinds of fucking production standards. And no, I opened up some of these pages. Now, I don't own it anymore. I think I probably threw it out. But the Punisher adaptation, I was looking at this at a freaking bookstore. and like even some of the pages were off kilter, and
Yeah.
it still came out. It was fucking mind blowing.
It's just bad. So we're gonna head back to the 70s after this.
Hey, Kevin. How you doing, man? How are you, buddy? Good. Here it is, man. Phone in from Miami. Check out the merchandise. Hey, man, no, I trust you. All right.
Look, I don't know what you're into, but
Amazing Spider-Man number 129, mint condition. Worth $1,000.
comic book.
No, it's not just a comic book. This is the first appearance of the Punisher. This is the holy grail of comic books.
You collect comic books. That's so cute.
Cute. It's very rugged and manly. It's just a bit geek.
All right, so as Mr. O'Donnell told us in that clip, The Amazing Spider-Man issue number 129, the very first appearance of the Punisher. Why is this the holy grail of comic books?
Well,
Because it can see the cinnamon and cinnamon toast crunch.
It's really not. I mean, come on. We all know the holy grail of comic books is Action Comics number 1. First of all, ASM 129 is good. It's a good Spider-Man comic. It's in that run with who was writing it at the time. I want to say Jerry Conway.
Jerry Conway.
Yeah, I mean that
And
that
Ross
was an
Dance,
amazing
I think.
run. I mean, he's obviously a character that, I mean, was extremely popular back in the Chromium age, but is definitely, still has his cult following now. As to its worth, I mean, it still holds its value at about $1,000 for a near mint copy. Though, I mean, I bought my copy for $80, but it's.
I was gonna say I got mine for a whole lot less than $1,000.
Yeah, well, mine's also in like good to VG, so I mean, it's
Guys.
not even the best of copies, which is weird because VG actually means in bad condition.
Yeah.
That's kind of weird. Though, side tangent, I lost my virginity while watching Coyote Ugly. Good times, good times.
Okay, then. So the
Okay,
cover-
time to skip to the rating and run away.
When I first read this, in preparation for this little segment here, why is there a fully green goblin in this called the Jackal? That made no sense to me. And why is the Clone Saga Silver Armor Spider-Man being shot at? That made no sense. And again, it just goes to my point that I'm so glad I'm
It was
in
just a
this
statue.
age. I know it's just a statue, but I didn't know that at the time when I first looked at it.
Well, actually, the Jackal, it turns out to be. Doesn't it turn out to be one of Peter's professors?
Yeah,
Probably.
it was.
It's probably Dr. Kurt Connors.
Well, it's not
but-
him, but it's another one of his professors.
Yeah.
He was a medical professional, and he actually was in love with Gwen Stacy. He had the hots for her. Even as like a 45-year-old man, he's like, yeah,
Who wasn't in love with Gwen
Yeah.
Stacy due to like constant retconning?
yeah. But I remember the Jackal really hates Spider-Man because Jackal blames Spider-Man for Gwen Stacy dying, and so Jackal fucks with Spider-Man every couple of years, sort of like how Sabretooth on Logan's birthday will just beat the shit out of him every year. That's something what the Jackal's kind of similar in that context.
To be fair, that's how I celebrate my birthday. So
Okay, then. Very quickly, before we cut to the ads and then the closing of the show, I'm so glad I'm not one of these people that was alive back then when this, like, young when this came out, because the more I read older comics, the more I cannot stand the art style and the
Really?
color.
Really? Nice.
The art is not that bad.
It's not. I'm not saying
Ross
the
Andrew
art
was
bad.
the man.
It's more so the coloring. It's just
Yeah.
background. The background colors is what I had. It's not really the coloring of the Spider-Man costume or the Punisher. I mean, the Punisher costume looks just like '94.
also
Battle
realize you would have absolutely no context to compare it to because the current generation didn't exist, and therefore you wouldn't find anything wrong with it.
That's probably true.
So, I mean,
but
the art's very serviceable. I mean, I'm a huge fan of the markers. We have too much Photoshop going on these days.
Yes.
But like I don't know. Like, yeah, some of the plot is convoluted, but the target audience is a lot different too. I mean,
Yeah.
No, yeah, no, I understand.
Say what you
to a
will, but
little to an 8-year-old guy. Oh fuck! The Jackal's hiding in the chimney while Punisher fights Spider-Man. This is deep. This is deep.
blew my mind.
Yeah, mind blown. When
Oh
you're an
my God!
8-year-old kid in
There's a
70s.
guy with a gun shooting at Spider-Man. What's he gonna do? Is he gonna get out of this doozy?
All right, so we're gonna go to a quick ad break, and then we'll come back with final thoughts and ratings after this.
Hello, pop culture connoisseurs. Do you gain a dark sense of peace when the guilty are punished by a violent vigilante? If so, maybe you should get some therapy, and then subscribe to Punisher Body Count, the net's best podcast concerning all things Frank Castle. I'm Dane Lamont. My co-host Jake Williams and I cover the good, the bad, and the hilarious on the Punisher comics, movies, and news. Do you like chummy co-host banter? We got that. You need to get your fucking
No,
head
you need to
checked,
fucking
man.
pay attention to the fucking movie.
You want kick-ass guest interviews? How about Mike Barron and Tom Jane?
No, I like a little bit of grit in my cigar.
You want carefully considered in-depth analysis?
I mean, yeah, just won Best Picture at the Oscars yesterday. I mean, it's no Terminator. It was still,
Good luck with that. Punisher Body Count, twice a month on Geekcast Radio.
I wanted you to know that I love the way you laugh. I wanna hold you high and steal your pain away. I keep your photograph, and I know it serves me well. I wanna hold you high and steal your pain, because I'm broken when I'm lonesome, and I don't feel right when you're gone away.
All right, we are back, and we are going to rate the 2004 adaptation of the Punisher 2004 film. We're not going to rate Amazing 129. We're just going to rate the story based off the film. I got to give it a half star, which on our scale is completely painful. It was
Ouch.
painful for me to want to read through this. I actually will enjoy and love the movie more because this version is so shitty.
Fair enough.
Ryan?
I'm going with the 1.5 stars, which is terrible. The reason for this is I feel bad for everybody that worked on it. I'm actually like giving pity points at this point. It's just not very good. It's not completely unredeemable, but it's just not very good.
Ryan,
He is.
true fact, if you look under Pat Olif's Wikipedia page or his website, you will find, and he was the guy that drew this basically. I think someone did finishing work, but he was the one that drew this. You will find nothing about this comic on any of his
Yeah.
shit. He just disregards it.
What about you, Dane? What do you rate it?
I give it one chubby Travolta face out of 5. I just it was funny. At first, I thought, "Oh, this is really interesting. It's going to be something. I'm going to learn the different angles of the movie and what was cut and what was different." And then I'm just reading this, and I just start getting numb to this because it kind of did do that shit. It kind of did go like, here were some things we were experimenting with in the movie, and then it was like, but we have no fucking life or effort that we're going to add to it. And we're just going to burn through 77 pages and try and fit a 124-minute movie into this with no with like no care to the comic book format. So fuck your format, fuck your whole production of this. Fuck the guy that released this.
So technically, you're fucking the publisher, Dan Buckley.
Yeah, fuck Dan Buckley. More like Dan Fuckley, am I right?
When you
Oh,
publish this,
God.
Mike, can you please email Dan Buckley and
No. No. I do not need Marvel coming after me for...
No, Dan, I'll fight you. Come at me, bro.
Good.
We'll finish this one way or another.
Jake, what's your rating?
I'll fucking kill you.
I think I'm going to have to agree with Ryan. I'm going to give it 1.5, and I'm only giving it that. I probably would give it an unrateable if I'm only looking at it as a comic adaptation. But if I kind of get away from that, it has one or two positives, but it still fails as a general story. So 1.5 seems about the best to rate it at.
All right, so that's it for this episode here in Punisher Month. Ryan, where can the folks interact with you if they want to?
Why would they want to?
You always make that joke. Just give me
No, I
information. Damn it.
All right. Let's see. On Twitter at Nightbeat, or well, that's really the only place I'm all that active, and even then, not too much.
Yes. What about you, Jake?
I think I'll just give the info for both me and Dane.
Sure.
You
Okay.
can find us on Facebook. Just search Punisher Body Count, and you can find our Punisher podcast on iTunes or PunisherBodyCount.com.
All
right. Let's go review something way worse now.
Yeah.
Sarcasm at its finest, ladies and gentlemen. Make your great escape into comics. We will catch you next time.
I leave this as a declaration of intent, so no one will be confused. 1. Sic vis pacem parabellum. Latin. The boot camp sergeant made us recite it like a prayer. Sic vis pacem parabellum. If you want peace, prepare for war. Number 2. Frank Castle is dead. He died with his family. Number 3. In certain extreme situations, the law is inadequate. In order to shame its inadequacy, it is necessary to act outside the law, to pursue natural justice. This is not vengeance. Revenge is not a valid motive, it's an emotional response. No, not vengeance. Punishment.
You just heard the latest episode of The Pullback, GCRN's comic book review podcast. There are several ways to get in touch with us and leave feedback for the show. You can visit the website, geekcastradio.com, where you can comment on the episode and all of our different podcasts. You can rate our show on iTunes. Be sure to leave us feedback. Call the voicemail line, 502-526-5821. Please remember to tell us the show you were leaving the message for, and your name. Become a fan of us on Facebook by searching Geekcast Radio Network. You can send us an email, feedback@geekcastradio.com. Follow us on Twitter @GeekCastRadio. So until next time, unleash the geek in you.